Before we get started, we wanted to thank Matchstick Golf for being our first title sponsor. Matchstick is a custom designer of ball markers based in Portland, Oregon, that was born out of its founder getting sick and tired of trying to find cool ball markers that weren't huge, heavy poker chips that didn't cost $300 on eBay. Matchstick's markers include the one-eyed alligator from Happy Gilmore, a stack of cash that will have you putting for dough. Right now, Matchstick is offering 15% off your first order at matchstickgolf.com with the code Municipals. So head on over to matchstickgolf.com, enter Municipals at checkout, tell them Big C in Ashton sent you.
How hard did you push it? Till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, Municipals? This is Big C. No Ashton, no guests this week, just me, solo, mano a mano with all of you guys. This week, we're going to kind of talk about, new year, new start. We're not going to talk goals. That's going to be our own podcast, whole separate episode. Me, Ashton, Jack. We're going to be getting into goals for the year and everything like that. But this is kind of the perfect time of the year to kind of restart, rethink, evaluate, and really just, kind of figure out where the journey is taking you. So, I'm going to kind of go over some things that I'm going to be working on this year, not only in golf, but outside of golf personally, and kind of what my thing, what I do for a living is fit golf clubs. So, talk a little bit about this being kind of the perfect time, just getting started in the new year, everything like that. Perfect time to be getting fitted, especially with new equipment coming out. So let's get into it, guys. So my goals this year, and again, we're not talking goals. My biggest personal thing that I need to tackle this year is my personal health. So if anybody knows me, I go by the name Big Chris, so that kind of tells you there. I'm a big, hefty boy. But getting into my mid-30s, starting to slow down a bit, feeling a little bit of the unhealthy lifestyle creeping in. One thing I have noticed and things that I need to look at is kind of through my family tree. And if I can preach anything to anyone, pay attention to the people in your family, your health history, and get regular checkups. Through my 20s, never really thought about it. Never really thought it was something that I should do. Now in my 30s, I can feel certain things in my body kind of deteriorating from, lack of taking care of myself and a lot of things like that. And in my family, we have a long line of diabetics. On my dad's side, we have a long line of heart disease and cancer. And so my big thing this year, if I can preach to anybody, and especially now that we're restarting and redoing, you can start anew, is I would say get to a doctor, get a regular physical, have some blood work done, and really get yourself checked out. If you love the game of golf and you want to play it as much as I do, and at the highest level I possibly can, it's got to start with my health. So if anything, that's one thing I'm looking at, and that's one thing I want to preach to everybody this year, is really, really take care of yourself. Get yourself checked out. Have things taken care of. Have your health trump everything else this year. If I can preach anything, another thing for me is mental health, and I know golf helps with that. A lot of people utilize the golf course as your place to clear your mind, to be able to, hone into your inner thoughts. But if golf is something frustrating to you, or life is just frustrating, reach out to somebody. Mental health is a big thing. I have a lot of close friends to me that have struggled with mental health, and things haven't been great, but they, some of my friends and myself have seeked out help and have seen therapists, and I myself regularly see a therapist. My wife sees a therapist, and it's kind of like a dirty thing. A lot of people don't really want to talk about it, but golf is big. If you're not in a good mental state, your golf game is going to suffer. And one thing I would say is I would really don't think golf is the only thing that can clear your mind or the mental things, because it is a game. People do take it very seriously. It can be, but it can work on both sides. It could definitely be your church. It could be your source of clarity. But there's nothing wrong with chatting with somebody, finding yourself a mental health professional and chatting with somebody. And maybe you have that guy that's on the golf course with you, and the person that is that to you is your golf buddy, or the person that you go out and play with is the person that allows you that outlet to clear your mind and speak your truths and everything like that. And that is absolutely amazing. That is definitely something that I think everybody needs to be mindful of and take care of themselves. It's kind of weird, me being solo on the pod. I don't think we've ever done an episode like this, but I kind of felt the need to talk a little bit about certain things in my life that I am working on this year and that I've neglected, and that I think kind of ties into golf. And it definitely ties into my golf game and my career being in golf. So certain things like this is very important to me, and I kind of thought it would be a good, quick episode. We're only going to run about 20-30 minutes for this episode. It's going to be a really quick one. But I really think that these kind of key things to take care of physically, mentally, even equipment wise and regiment wise are really key goals to be the best that you possibly could be, either as an individual, a husband, a golfer, a golf buddy, anything like that. And so, first was your health. Take care of your physical health. Your mental health is absolutely important, and something, again, I'm going to harp on this, something I think everybody should look into if you don't have that outlet already. And if you have any questions, reach out to me and Ashton. We're always an outlet to anybody. So So I'm going to step off my soapbox with that right now. I just wanted to kind of say that there's certain things going on in my life that I wanted to express to some of our listeners and our followers, and things that I'm working on, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't say, and I'm definitely wanting to kind of reach out to you guys and be a little vulnerable there. So hope that's not too mushy and everything, but kind of wanted to just get that off my chest. But this time of year is perfect to start working on your game, start dialing in equipment. One thing that I do as a career is I am a master club fitter and builder for a company called Club Champion. This isn't a commercial for Club Champion, I promise you guys this, but what I really would harp on everybody, if you're taking your game seriously this year, if you're going to play more competitively, if you're going to, take more money in the cash games, whatever your goal is, getting fitted, dialing in your set that you currently have might be one of the most important things you possibly could do. And your set might be perfect for you, but at least going in and getting analyzed and looked at and seeing if there is any improvements that you might be able to make this year is incredibly important. There's people that come into my work that I will have set up for a full bag fitting, and we'll go through the irons. There's really not an improvement that we're going to see there. He'll have a 4-5-year-old 3-wood. New equipment still really isn't beating it. It's still his old trusty. There's nothing I can sell him on there. His wedges are about 130, rounds in. We definitely take a look there. He needs some new grooves. We get some better spin rates. Numbers actually, improve from what he currently has. Look at the driver. Maybe it might be a 3-year-old driver. And equipment hasn't changed too much, within the 3 years. But there might be a new shaft on the market. There might be, maybe he has an issue going left or right, so we can adjust some things, or we can, play with different lengths to maybe get him a little bit more distance. A lot of things that you can work on, and sometimes it's just a change of a shaft to get you a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more distance in your old head. There is a ton of times people are going to come through my shop and we might use old equipment with new shafts, or old shafts with a new head, and just a certain matchup is working better for maybe a swing change that they've done over the last year, or if they bulked up a little bit and got a little bit more speed. Any of those variables can make you need to change your equipment or check your equipment. And even slowing down can cause that, and you needing to check your equipment. So since we're getting into the new year, we're getting into the new season, that's one thing I would harp on everybody. And it's a big difference from going to a big box store or, a demo day and actually going to a fitting studio. So fitting studio is completely different, and it is the best possible way that you can get fitted. Because the large difference for anybody that doesn't know, when you go to a big box retail, they're only given what they're given from the manufacturers. So whatever is a free option, when you go on a manufacturer's website, like the new TaylorMade Stealth is, coming out. And if you go on the TaylorMade website, there are stock option shafts. So there's usually, 3 or 4 options in regular flex, 3-4 options stiff, a couple in senior flex, and maybe a couple in extra stiff. That's all you're given. Every manufacturer of shafts, if it's Fujikura, Mitsubishi, LA Golf, whatever your brand is or whatever fits you, every manufacturer makes about 30 to 40 different options of shafts in different flexes, different, profiles, the whole 9 yards. So for you to go to a big box store and only have those, let's say you're in stiff because of your swing speed, you're left with 3 options of shafts. That doesn't really get you the capabilities of really dialing in your equipment. Where when you go to a fitting studio, in demo days, they will sometimes have all the upgraded versions of shafts that are offered by the manufacturers, and you'll have a much larger selection than you would. But what you're now, pigeonholing yourself into just getting fitted into one manufacturer. And that's the flaw of a demo day, is you're kind of sinking yourself into just getting stuff from one manufacturer, where a fitting studio, you can actually go in. Most fitting studios, at least Club Champion, we carry pretty much every large manufacturer of golf club, including some that you probably haven't heard of, like GR and Epon. Everybody's heard of Mura. Some of the more off the wall stuff, and then even the direct to consumer stuff, like we carry Ben Hogan, which is a great alternative brand when somebody's trying to save a little bit of money. But even sometimes people get fit into those, and they're better than some of the larger manufacturers. So there's a huge selection, and then we have 48,000 combinations of shafts and heads. So you come into a fitting studio and you are 100% able to get dialed in completely. Just in the stiff, shaft section for drivers, my store alone probably has, it's hundreds of options just in stiff shafts. And then that's not including all the other flexes that we carry, and regular has like 5 different flexes. You can go R2, R3, there's a whole nother gamut that you can climb into in different flexes there as well. And, with those options, it really definitely allows you to find the correct setup that's going to match you. And if you buy a setup, it's going to be a little bit more expensive through a fitting studio. You're going to spend 30-40% more than you're going to if you walk into a big box retailer. And that's mainly because it's all custom built, swing weighted, and, fit specifically for you and your swing. It's a tailored golf club. It's like going to a cobbler and having a shoe molded and made around your foot. That's literally made just for you. That's exactly what a proper fitting is going to do. And a lot of times, year in and year out, you're not having to buy new equipment because it's going to work so well for you for so long, unless there's a major swing change in your game. And even if a new equipment comes out or you want to change something, you can always change the heads. Usually your shaft is going to be good for many, many years. And that's the thing. If you spend good money on an aftermarket shaft, a premium shaft that's fitted and suited for you, a lot of times we will have that same shaft fitted just into the new head of the new model coming out the next year or the year after. So when you invest in a good setup, or even if your setup's good but you need to get your lies and lofts adjusted, all of that can be seen within a fitting session. So getting fitted correctly, and going through the paces to make sure that your equipment is up to the standards it should be, or at least getting the knowledge of what you need to do to get there. And even if you don't have the money, you can then work out a deal and piece it together over time. And you'll usually get some sort of build sheet that'll tell you exactly what equipment you got fitted in that's going to be the best or the most suitable for you. And you can pick it off, every couple months. Start with your driver, work into your long game, then work into your, wedges and irons and your putter. And that's another thing I think most people don't get fitted in or think about, is most people walk into a putting corral, grab a putter, it feels good, looks good, buys it. Getting a proper putter fitting it might be more crucial than any other part of your bag. And a proper putter fitting is very difficult to find. There's not a lot of companies that offer it. No big box store offers any sort of putter fitting, and they might say they do. They absolutely do not. I've worked for a big box. They don't offer good putter fittings. The one I'm familiar with, the one that I have at work, is a fitting system called the Sam Putt Lab. Sam Putt Lab is great. It comes with a triplet. You put it on your putter. It matches up with the actual technology, and it tells you face angles, club path through the ball, lie, loft, the whole 9 yards. Gives you full recommendations of what's best for you, what is suitable, where your strike pattern is, so on and so forth, your consistency in strokes. It's an absolute great piece of equipment. And the one thing I will say is it will recommend a putter. It will recommend a style of putter. It will recommend the offset, the lie and loft angles, all of that. But even if you don't want to change putters, doing it just to get the correct lies and lofts and make sure that you're center striking it and that you have a flat face to the ground parallel to the target is massive. And just going through a fitting just to get that dialed in, I couldn't tell you how many people that I know that have come through my shop, friends that are local here in Portland, that have just gone through my putter fitting, and all I've done is bent their stuff to the recommended specs that Sam Putt Lab has or gives me, and they have dramatically improved in their putting. It's night and day. It is one of the most important things you absolutely can do. I myself went full in, took the recommendation of what Sam told me, and I was to get a full shaft offset mallet with a 45 to 60 degree toe hang. So I went with the Scotty Cameron Phantom X 5.5 with the slant neck, full neck offset. And it's exactly what I should be putting with. I feel confident as hell, and it's just what I should be utilizing. And I've always used a face balance, a square back, in and out of Bettinardi and Scotty Camerons, and a bunch of different versions of that. And I have a pretty decent, minimal arc when it comes to my stroke, but I'm very consistent with it. And what that little bit of toe hang does, it allows me to stay on that arc and come through the ball more square. And it has dramatically, improved in my game. And I can't wait for the season to start to be able to get out there and really give it a go and see how many strokes gained I can, improve with that. And, one other fitting thing that I will hound on everybody, and it's one thing that you use on every single shot. It is something that you absolutely need to take a look at and find a shop that does it: a ball fitting. One thing most people overlook, and it is one of the most important things. You use it on every single shot that you play. And a ball fitting is one major thing. Get in, test some balls. The way I do a ball fitting is you hit your sand wedge with, if it's a 56, 54 degree, you hit about 4 or 5 shots with every single ball. Start off with your wedge. If you're not getting the spin rates that you want and the carry that you want out of it, then it shouldn't move on to the next round. Then once you find the top 5, 6 that match what you're looking for, move on to your 6 or 7 iron. And whatever gives you the proper numbers in distance, spin rates, carry, and total, that should be the one that moves on as well. If you see any that jump and you get flyers, that's something that you kind of want to look out for in a ball fitting that you might not like. That's something in the Chrome Soft that I didn't like and that Ashton didn't like, is that we would get ones that were the same ball speed or the same club head speed, but we would get these ball speeds that would jump up. And it would be really weird, and they would just you'd get an extra 10 yards out of it. And that's something you don't want in your ball. So make sure that you find your numbers, everything with that, and then move on to either your 3-wood or driver. Make sure it's getting the proper spin rates that's allowing it to carry at the maximum distance. It depends on how fast you swing the club and how high you hit it, but a good sweet spot for spin rates, if you're a person that really hits it positive, you can have a bit lower of a spin rate there. If you're a guy like me that spins it a ton and I hit it a little bit more on the negative side, I'm looking for something that has the lowest spin rate I possibly can, because I need every equipment help to be able to keep the spin low so that I can hit it further. So those are things, depending on your swing style, are things that you need to look at, and a ball fitting is absolutely key. And other thing getting started with this year is get into a practice regiment. Something I preach to my high school kids that I coach all the time. You have to you have to create a regiment that fits your schedule, but also is diligent within that time frame that you're allowing yourself. So if you're going to go hit balls on the range, make sure you're working on one part of your game at a time when you're at the range. Don't just hit a bunch of shots with a bunch of different clubs. Make sure, if you're having issues with 130 to 160 in, make sure you go through an entire bucket of balls just working on that. Next time you go, work on your driver. Next time you go, work on your long game. Rotate through it, making sure that you're targeting certain parts of your game to be able to, excel in that and really dial it in. Big thing is when going and practicing, practice putting. I swear to God, 90% of people that I know, and especially kids that I coach, that's the one thing nobody wants to spend time on. You can scratch so many strokes off your score if you spend time on the putting green. Get a putting mirror, get some gates, practice fucking putting. It's ridiculous how many people don't practice enough putting, and how many people I know I can just instantly know they're going to miss a 3 or 4 foot putt. Chris Hussey, I'm talking to you. And I can just guarantee it. So that's where I can... If any of my buddies want to start beating me, you can practice putting. Because that's the only place I know I can catch you guys. So, regiment, get fitted, ball fitting, stay healthy, stay happy, guys. It's a new fucking year. I'm excited. Let's go fucking launch them. I'm excited for this year. I'm excited for what's to come with the Municipals. Stay tuned. I know this one was short. It's something I really want to do from the bottom of my heart. Love you guys. Yay!